Good morning and welcome to today's New York City Council Subcommittee on Landmarks, Public Sightings, and Dispositions. At this time, we ask that you silence all cell phones and electronic devices to minimize disruptions throughout the hearing. If you have testimony you wish to submit for the record, you may do so at landusetestimony@council.nyc.gov. Once again, that is landusetestimony@council.nyc.gov. We thank you for your cooperation, Chair. We're ready to begin.
Good morning and welcome to the meeting of Subcommittees on Landmarks, Public Sightings, and Dispositions. I am Councilmember Camila Hanks and I am the chair of the subcommittee. Today I'm joined by my colleagues Marte, Nurse, and Salam. Before we begin with today's agenda, I will remind everyone that this meeting is being held in hybrid format. For members of the public who wish to testify remotely, we ask that you first register online, and you may do so now by visiting www.council.nyc.gov/land use to sign up, and sign on to the Zoom and remain signed on until you have testified. For anyone who with us today in person wishing to testify, and you've not already done so, please see one of our sergeants to fill out a speaker card. We will call your name at the appropriate time. For anyone wishing to submit written testimony on the items being heard today, we ask that you please send it via email to landusetestimony@council.nyc.gov, including the land use number and the project name in the subject line of your email. Video and audio testimony will not be accepted. I remind the members of the public that this is a government proceeding and decorum shall be observed at all times. As such, members of the public shall remain silent unless and until called to testify. The witness table is reserved for people who wish to testify. No video recording or photography is allowed from the witness table. Further, members of the public may not present audio or video recordings as testimony, but may submit the transcripts of such recordings to the sergeant for inclusion in the hearing record. So with that said, on today's agenda, we have a hearing on land use item 80, the Landmarks Preservation Commission's proposed designation of the New York Public Library, Tremont Branch, in Councilmember Felice's district in the Bronx as a historic landmark. Land use item 8104-108 West 139th Street in ANCP cluster in Councilmember Salam's district in Harlem. That was a mouthful. And land use L2 article, you have to give me the right name. Is that 5 or 6? 11. It's 11. See, I don't know that either. Tax exemption request for the Sunnyside Barnett in Councilmember Wan's district in Queens. So now I will open the hearing for LU number 82, the real estate property tax exemption application pursuant to Article 11 in the Private Housing Finance Law to facilitate the development of a mixed-use building consisting of approximately 185 affordable units, community space, and on-site surface parking, known as Sunnyside Barnett in Queens in Councilmember Wan's district. Appearing with us today, we have Kelly Bisco, President of Development at Phipps Houses, and Matthew Washington, Vice President of Chief of Staff of Phipps Houses. Those who wish to testify, once again, must register online visiting the council's website at council.nyc.gov/land use. Council, will you please administer the affirmation? Thank you.
Panelists, would you please raise your right hand and state your name for the record? You can sit. And make sure your microphones are on.
Test.
Okay. So please state your name for the record.
Kelly Biscuso.
Matthew Washington.
And do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this subcommittee and in answer to all council member questions?
So help me God, I do.
Thank you. Applicant panelists, please begin.
Good morning, Chair Hanks and members of the Subcommittee on Landmarks, Public Sightings, and Dispositions. Thank you for the opportunity to provide testimony on behalf of 5025 Barnett Housing Development Fund Corporation and its sole member, Phipps Houses, which is New York City's oldest and largest nonprofit developer, owner, and manager of affordable housing. My name is Kelly Biscuso, I'm a vice president in the real estate development group at Phipps Houses. And with me is my colleague, Matthew Washington, who is also a vice president and chief of staff for Phipps Houses. We're here with our partners from New York City's Department of Housing Preservation and Development, and in accordance with Section 577 of the Private Housing Finance Law, we are seeking approval of an Article 11 tax exemption for a new 100% affordable housing development located at 5025 Barnett Avenue in Sunnyside, Queens. This project is known as the Barnett. The Barnett was previously approved by the New York City Council through rezoning in 2021, and it will provide a 185-unit, 100% affordable housing development, which will also include 4,665 square feet of community facility space. The development will be financed under HPD's Extremely Low and Low Income Affordability Program, and it will provide funding for the construction of low-income homes for families with a range of incomes from 30% to 80% of the area median income. This is an exciting opportunity to bring new affordable housing to New York City, and we are grateful to you for providing us with the opportunity to present this project to you. Thank you once again for your time and your consideration of this proposal, and we're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you.
He speaks for both of us. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. I love that. So thank you. So now I'd like to recognize any of my colleagues, if anyone has questions or remarks. Seeing none, thank you. The applicant panel is now excused.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Council, are there any members of the public who wish to testify on this item?
No, there's no members of the public online or in person who wish to testify. If anybody is interested in testifying in person, please sign a card up front.
Okay, seeing none, with there being no other members of the public who wish to testify regarding LU 82 for the Sunnyside Barnett, the public hearing is now closed. I will now open public hearing for LU number 81, applications brought by HPD for designation of an urban development action area, approval of an urban development action project, disposition of city-owned land to a developer selected by HPD, as well as a real estate property tax exemption pursuant to Article 11 of the Private Housing Finance Law to facilitate development of the affordable housing project known as 104-108 West 39th Street, ANCP, for 5 clustered sites in Harlem in Councilmember Salam's district. Appearing here today on this proposal is Shams Al-Kahafi from HPD, Stephen Erdmann from HPD, and Cheryl Henry, Senior Vice President of Real Estate Development at Congregations for Community Improvement. Again, those wishing to testify remotely must register online by visiting the council's website at council.nyc.gov/land use. Council, would you please administer the affirmation?
Panelists, would you please raise your right hand and state your name for the record? Let's check the microphone.
Shams Al-Ghafaji.
Thank you. Cheryl Henry. Check the microphone.
Cheryl Henry, Harlem Congregations for Community Improvement.
Thank you.
Stephen Erdman, HPD.
Thank you. And do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this subcommittee and in answer to all council member questions?
I do.
I do.
I do.
Thank you. Applicant panelists, please begin.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Shams Al-Ghafaji, and I am a project manager for HPD's Affordable Neighborhood Cooperative Program, or ANCP. First, I'd like to thank the Subcommittee on Landmarks, Public Sightings, and Dispositions for your time today. This morning, I'll be speaking on 104-106 West 139th Street Cluster, which is a proposal to rehabilitate 4 buildings in Harlem under HPD's Affordable Neighborhood Cooperative Program. Move to the next slide. purpose of this project is to gut renovate the tenant interim lease, or TIL, buildings to enable the existing residents, of which there are 38 in this cluster, to become homeowners. The structure of this project will be a collaboration between a sponsor, Harlem Congregations for Community Improvements, of whom we have Cheryl Henry this morning, partnering with HPD. The sponsor will manage the building during construction and throughout the conversion process. During construction, the nonprofit Restoring Communities HDFC will own the building to prevent any potential conflicts of interest with the sponsor. Upon conversion, the building will be owned and managed by the residents of the buildings, including the existing residents and new purchasers of the currently vacant residents. The requirements for the buildings to convert to cooperatives are to 1, have 80% of existing residents attend at least 8 co-op success trainings, which will be provided during the construction period. 2, 80% of existing residents must also remain current on their rent payments. And lastly, 3, 80% of existing residents must choose to purchase their units at co-op conversion. Next slide, please. To speak on the affordability of these units, existing residents will pay $250 if they are earning up to 80% of the area median income. Residents that earn more than 80% of the area median income will pay $2,500 to purchase their converted units. Residents will not obtain any personal mortgages for the purchase of their units. For new purchasers of the currently vacant units, of which there are 35 in this cluster, purchase prices will be set affordable to 80% of area median income. Those prices are set so that the purchaser's personal mortgages, plus monthly maintenance, plus utilities will not exceed roughly 1/3 of their income to remain affordable. The area median income of a family of 3 is shown in 2024 is shown on the slides. Next slide, please. The TIL rents that residents are currently paying do not produce enough income to maintain the buildings. The monthly cost through ANCP will change through a rent restructuring process at the point of conversion. The expenses required to maintain a building include building insurance, heat and hot water, electric in public places, maintenance staff salaries, water and sewer, accountant/legal, extermination, minor repairs, just to name a few. The shareholders will collectively decide how much they would like to increase maintenance biannually. However, there is a required 2% increase per year per the ANCP term sheet. For the co-op to have enough money to cover the prior mentioned expenses, monthly maintenance has been set affordable to families earning 40% of AMI. Any residents earning below that amount will receive Section 8 vouchers to ensure that they do not pay more than 30% of their total income on housing costs. The voucher will subsidize the difference between the residents' share, which is 30%, and the 40% AMI. It is shown on the slides, the various AMIs for various family sizes. For example, 40% AMI for a family of 3 in 2024 is $55,930. Households that earn above 40% AMI, the initial maintenance is set so that maintenance plus utilities does not exceed roughly 1/3 of their income. There are some estimates below on the slides of what monthly maintenance might look like at conversion, but these are just estimates, and exact cost will be set closer to actual conversion date. So just to summarize, no one will pay more than 30% of their income. Next slide, please. This here is an example of the total monthly payments for a household in ANCP with an income of $15,000 per year. The total maintenance for one bedroom is roughly $1,059 based on 40% AMI. The shareholder will only pay $375, which is 30% of their monthly income, since they earn less than 40% of AMI. Then the voucher will subsidize the rest of the maintenance with $684. Next slide, please. Typical project costs that are included in the rehabilitation work are introducing new building systems, which include low-carbon electrical and heating systems and new water and gas lines. Costs also go to legalizing the unit layouts and bringing the buildings up to code, introducing new and improved accessibility features, including accessible showers, wheelchair accessibility within units, and most residents in these specific buildings have seen and signed off on their new units layouts. Additionally, residents are typically relocated during the construction period, which is approximately 24 to 30 months, which the project budget covers the difference between the current amount they pay, which is the TIL rents as we discussed, and the relocation units rent until conversion. The project budget also covers every other cost related to moving, like boxes, movers, tape, storage. And in these buildings' case specifically, some tenants are relocated early due to concerns about the safety of the buildings. Okay. Lastly, the project also covers co-op success trainings to the residents to help them build their knowledge and ability to become successful homeowners. Additionally, the budget provides a substantial reserve fund to help the building pay for any emergencies down the road. Next slide, please. The typical financing for co-op project is that the majority of it is paid through a city capital loan, which will be provided in the amount of $500,000 to $700,000 per unit. There will be 0 debt payments and $0 interest payments for 40 years tied to the Article 11 property tax exemption that we're applying for. And the first loan payment will be due to the city after 40 years only if the co-op chooses to exit affordability. If the co-op chooses to stay under a regulatory agreement, then there will be no loan payments and $0 debt payments due. HPD's loan does not impact the maintenance fee amount because, as discussed earlier, the maintenance fee has been set to cover the building expenses and to add an affordability metric. This project is also receiving funding through New York State grant, AHC, which will not be repaid. The sales proceeds from both the occupied units, but primarily the vacant units, will help to provide funds to help finance the project. Article 11 of tax exemption that we're applying for will reduce and eliminate the property tax cost on the building for at least 40 years, if not longer. And lastly, the subsidized acquisition cost of $1 per building, because the buildings are currently city-owned, and it also brings down the development cost. Next slide, please. Okay, in terms of development timeline for this project, the sponsor designation process has already occurred, as just mentioned earlier. Harlem Congregations for Community Improvement has been designated. We are currently in the pre-development phase. We have had continuous tenant engagement as recent as April 25th, so about a month ago. Scope of work has been determined, budget and financing are currently in the works, and we have 81% tenants sign off on layouts, but we plan to obtain 100% before in the coming weeks. And we also plan to have all tenants relocated by fall of 2024. We are anticipating that construction will take between 24 and 30 months. During that period, the deed of the buildings will be transferred from the city to Restoring Communities, which, as discussed earlier, it is the temporary owner of the buildings. Then the construction loan will close and the construction will begin as soon as the tenants are relocated. Tenants will attend previously mentioned co-op homeownership trainings. Then the sponsor will engage an attorney to create an offering plan, which allows us to convert to co-op at the end of construction. Then after construction finishes, we anticipate it'll take about 9 to 12 months to go through the marketing and conversion process so that the tenants will be moved back to the buildings as soon as it's ready. Marketing for the vacant units will begin. The building will convert to co-op once those units are being marketed and have signed purchasers, and the deed will be transferred to the co-op, and then the construction loan will be paid off at that co-op conversion point by permanent financing. Next slide, please. Okay, here I'll pass it off to Cheryl Henry of HCCI to speak about their organizations and some project specifics.
Yeah, hi, good morning, everyone. Harlem Congregations for Community Improvement has been involved in the development of rental and affordable housing for 38 years. We have considerable experience in preserving and developing homeownership programs. I would say our main emphasis also has been to provide rentals to the tenants within the Harlem area, particularly the central Harlem area. I would say that was like approximately 90% of our construction, both preservation and new construction. So we are continuing as it relates to homeownership with this 104, 108 West 139th Street cluster project. We have selected the construction lender who is going to be what we call the gap financing entity.
We'll move to the next slide for this bit.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Currently there are 75 units, but there will be 73 units, due to the change in code requirements at the Department of Buildings. We currently have 38 existing households. and 35 will be the first-time buyers. The sales price for the existing residents will be from $250 for those people who are below 50% AMI, or $2,500 for those who exceed the 50% AMI level. Sale prices for the new residents are affordable to 80% AMI. Monthly maintenance fee for all residents set at 40% AMI or below. We expect to close on this project mid to late 2024. ACCI is also engaged in a tremendous amount of tenant engagement. We are relocating people. We are answering their questions. Some people are concerned about moving out of their environment, so we try to calm their fears because they will be experiencing new changes. We're working with them to collect income and encouraging them to facilitate, the improvements that will be made to their property. Currently, there are 17 studio apartments post-rehab. There'll be 17 studio apartments, 13 one-bedroom, 22 bedroom units, 16 three-bedrooms, and 7 bedrooms. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to make this presentation.
Thank you very much. Just want to let you know we've been joined by Majority Leader Amanda Farias. Thank you so much. I'd like to invite, my colleagues, if anyone has any questions or remarks. Councilmember Salam.
Hi, good morning. I was wondering if you might be able to share with us the breakdown of the actual budget as well.
Yes, so as Shams mentioned on the financing page, that's the summary of the budget that we have. So we're expecting, I think the key piece of information is that we're expecting HPD to provide a loan in the amount of $500,000 to $700,000 per unit. The budget itself is still in development right now. We can certainly provide that to you as those numbers become more finalized. We also will be hosting a meeting with residents when the budget is finalized to present that to them so they can understand how the project is being financed and what types of loans from the city will be part of the project. So that is something we certainly can follow up on with you.
Okay, I want to perhaps maybe just table this particular project just so that we can have more time to finalize a few things.
Thank you, Council Member. Thank you. This applicant panel is now excused. Council, are there any members of the public who wish to testify on this item?
No, we have no one signed up online or in person.
Okay. There being no other members of the public who wish to testify on LU 81-104-108 West 139th Street A and CP cluster, the public hearing is now closed. I will now open the public hearing for LU 80, the proposed designation by the Landmarks Preservation Commission of the New York Public Library Tremont Branch in Councilmember Felice's district in the Bronx as an historic landmark. Appearing today is Margaret Herman, Deputy Director, Research Department, Landmarks Preservation Commission. Those wishing to testify remotely must register online by visiting the Council's website at www.council.nyc.landuse. Council, will you please administer the affirmation?
Panelists, would you please raise your right hand and state your name for the record?
Margaret Herman.
Stephen Thompson.
Thank you. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this subcommittee, and in answer to all council member questions?
I do.
Thank you, applicant panelists. We've been now joined by Councilmember Felice. So thank you, applicant panelists. Please begin.
Good morning, Chair Hanks and subcommittee members. My name is Margaret Herman, Deputy Director of the Research Department at the Landmarks Preservation Commission, joined by Stephen Thompson, our Director of Community and Intergovernmental Affairs. Thank you for the opportunity to present our recent designation of the Tremont branch of the New York Public Library. This designation was identified in multiple LPC surveys over the years. It was prioritized on our survey of Carnegie libraries and on our recent comprehensive survey of the Bronx, an area where we have been working to increase landmark designations that reflect the diversity and rich heritage of our city. Next slide. Next slide, please. Thank you. The Tremont branch was the 6th library of 67 circulating libraries constructed from steel magnate Andrew Carnegie's donation in 1901, which created the most extensive library system in the country. The Tremont Library was one of 14 Carnegie libraries designed by the architecture firm of Carrere and Hastings, and it has remained in remarkable condition. The Tremont branch is the last Carnegie library to be designated in the Bronx that is intact and still operating within the NYPL system. At its public hearing on January 23, 2024, a representative of the New York Public Library testified in support of the designation, as did the Historic Districts Council and the Bronx Borough Historian. The commission received one additional letter of support from an individual, and no testimony was received in opposition to the designation. Next slide. The Tremont Library is located in the East Tremont neighborhood of the Bronx at the corner of East 176th Street and Washington Avenue. Next slide, please. The library was completed in 1905. Carnegie libraries were typically opened in populated areas on busy streets where the reading rooms were strategically placed close to the sidewalk to draw people in. Community branch libraries like Tremont reflected Carrere and Hastings' stately, classically inspired aesthetic, used to make the libraries easily recognizable to the public. Next slide. Carrere and Hastings, one of the most prominent Beaux-Arts architecture firms in the 20th century, designed the Central Branch in Manhattan. The firm was also part of the Architects Committee, which set the design standards for the branch library system. Carrere and Hastings designed 14 branch libraries, which fell into 3 general categories: mid-block libraries like the Muhlenberg branch in Manhattan, small freestanding libraries like the Tottenville branch on Staten Island, and libraries set on prominent corners like the Hunts Point branch in the Bronx. Next slide. The Tremont Library is a 2-story classical revival corner brick building with a partial 3rd story for the janitor's apartment. The building features a limestone trim with limestone keystones on the 1st floor in the arched windows, a projecting band course between the 1st and 2nd floors, limestone enfranements of the 2nd floor windows, a denticulated cornice, and parapet panels. Although designed with 5 bays, a 6th bay was added between 1915 and 1916, and due to the extension, what originally was a central entrance is now an asymmetrical one. The building also has a side entrance and a basement entrance on East 176th Street. Next slide. In the early 20th century, Tremont was home to primarily European immigrants. As the century progressed, the population changed from Europeans to primarily Latino and Black families. The Tremont branch held lectures and events to educate the public in a wide variety of subjects. The programs were largely informed by the demographics of Tremont and what the librarians saw as beneficial to the community, which evolved over time. Next slide. Librarians employed at the Tremont branch kept extremely detailed documentation describing the importance of the library, their work with the public, changes to the neighborhood, and advocacy for programming, which give a unique insight into the evolution of Tremont. Over time, Tremont was home to many different ethnicities, which the branch consistently celebrated and uplifted. The Tremont branch was one of the foremost branch libraries for books on Jewish culture and history in the 1940s, and it was one of 8 libraries funded through the South Bronx Library Project to engage the Spanish-speaking community in the 1960s. In the 1980s, it hosted a Black Heritage Committee to highlight African-American literature. Next slide. The exterior of the Tremont branch remains remarkably intact, including its stone and ironwork. These images show the library's popularity, both on its opening day in 1905, when the public lined up to enter the new space, and following an interior renovation in the 1950s, when the public rushed in to use the space once again. In 2009, the Tremont branch underwent additional interior renovations to make it more accessible. Part of Carnegie's conditions for his donation tasked the New York Public Library with the stewardship of the branch libraries, a task evidently carried out in the Tremont branch. Next slide. The Tremont branch is a distinguished example of a highly intact, well-preserved branch library constructed from the donation of Andrew Carnegie that created the most extensive library system in the United States. along with its stately architecture by the firm of Carrere and Hastings, is a community space that evolved in step with the Tremont neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like to now recognize any of my colleagues. Anyone have questions or remarks? Councilmember Felice.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chair. Good morning, everyone. I'm Councilmember Oswald Felice. Proudly represent District 15, wherein the library is located. I'm proud to support the historic landmark designation of this New York Public Library located in Tremont. The building is an excellent example of an early Carnegie Library. I would also like to acknowledge the work being done inside the library. Libraries play an important role in their communities. The Tremont branch has been and continues to be a community space and a classroom. The library has welcomed generations of immigrants, as you mentioned, and offered support in many different ways, including as they learn many different languages, including English. I hope my colleagues will join me in supporting this designation. Thank you. And a few questions.
Go ahead.
So, thank you. So 2 questions. What are the consequences of not landmarking this building?
That's a good question. This is a designation, so I don't know if I can speak to that exactly. The reasons for designating would be to recognize significance, I think we've worked with the New York Public Library throughout this process. The LPC has previously designated 21 other Carnegie libraries, I think it's clear that the library values these historic spaces. I think it's a way to really kind of represent the best of these historic community spaces. Thank you.
Okay. Would the landmark status we're considering make it more difficult to retrofit the building? Let's say we want to install new technology, solar panels, insulated windows.
We don't believe so. As I said, we have worked with the New York Public Library on, many other libraries. First of all, in general, we don't have anything to do with the interior spaces. So, we really don't want to, we want to work with owners on making changes that will preserve the historic character while allowing them to continue to offer the services that are so important to their communities. And so, we have a staff of 70 or 80 folks that work with property owners, offering expertise, technical expertise, information about different materials and things like that. And our rules do allow for things like solar panels and things of that nature. As we go forward, we would certainly work with the New York Public Library to work with them on any of these changes.
If I could add, in 2023, the Commission passed a new rule allowing more flexible installation of solar panels and faster review of that sort of installation.
All right. Thank you so much. No more questions.
Thank you, Council Member. Thank you. This applicant panel is now excused. Council, are there any members of the public wish to testify on this item?
No, there's no one in person or online signed up to testify.
Thank you. There being no other members of the public who wish to testify regarding LU 80 for the landmarking of the New York Public Library Tremont branch, the public hearing is now closed. We will now vote on LU 82 for the Sunnyside Barnett Article 11, which we just heard. Members of the subcommittee who have questions or remarks about today's items, please let me know. I will now call for a vote to approve the Article 11 tax exemption request for Sunnyside Barnett Project LU 82 with the support of Council Member Wan. Council, please call the roll.
Chair Hanks.
Aye.
Councilmember Felice.
I vote yes.
Councilmember Frias.
I vote aye.
Councilmember Marte.
I vote aye.
Councilmember Nurse.
I vote aye.
Councilmember Salam.
I vote aye.
With a vote of 6 in the affirmative, no in the negative, and no abstentions, the items are adopted and referred to the full Land Use Committee.
Thank you.
No, because Brandon's not coming.
Okay, that concludes today's business. I would like to thank the members of the public, my colleagues, subcommittee, council, land use staff, and the Sergeant at Arms for your participation today. This meeting is hereby adjourned.